Somebody sitting with them, or beautician, or whatever.
Super.
Yeah, they'll do a good job.
Oh, yeah.
Needed to.
Hello, welcome to our November the 12th, 2013 regular City Council meeting. If you would stand for the invocation, please. Gracious God, as we enter the Thanksgiving season, we thank you for your love in times of hardship and sorrow, as well as times of joy. For the many gifts you've given us, we are truly grateful. We thank you for the blessings you have bestowed upon our city and our people. We give thanks for our community, for those who serve in so many ways. And we humbly ask your guidance as we discuss items that affect the lives of our citizens. Please give us discernment, patience, mercy, and kindness as we make decisions. Be with us. Amen. And now, y'all may be seated. Pack 28, would you come forward, please, and do the Pledge of Allegiance?
You have to stand.
They don't call us.
Oh, okay, right. Then-
Will the audience please rise to repeat? Scott, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two.
Go ahead. Thank y'all very much. For the audience at home, prior to the meeting, we had a little government session of about 20 minutes led by our city manager with the Cub Scouts as part of their merit badge. So we're really happy to have you here with us tonight. Okay, we have a special presentation in recognition of Mr. Richard Beelan. If y'all would come up, please. Want to read the certificate of appreciation for you. You've been on the zoning commission for, what, 18 years?
Yes, sir.
On the Board of Zoning Appeals? So this is a certificate of appreciation awarded to Richard J. Beelan, Board of Zoning Appeals, from October 1995 through October 2013. And it's presented by the City Council and signed by our Mayor, Mayor Hunt. So thank you a whole lot, and there's your plaque, and you may speak if you wish.
I'd like you all to know that I prepared for this. I've been taking therapy for my voice. And one of my tasks was to present myself loud and clear tonight, and I hope I satisfy it. But anyways, I'm honored to receive this award, and I sincerely mean that, for selection in first and service on the Board of Zoning Appeals. I've been a member since 1995, and I will miss this organization tremendously. They're a wonderful bunch of people to work with, and this includes all of the people in the City Hall. And I see a lot of you out there tonight, and It's a great city. Sonia and I my wife, are so proud to have coming back to Poquoson through Langley. We had a military career left to finish, and then we lived here, kept our home, and had a couple more assignments and came back. Beautiful city, like where we lived in New Hampshire. We were originally Yankees, so we turned there. I enjoyed, one of the things I pursued when I was on the Board of Zoning Appeals, I like to feel that the council has established rules, regulations, whatever you want to call them. We're here to uphold that, and I think that's stressed maybe a little bit too much in the course we have to go to start out. And I came back, it was a little bit tough probably, but to me, it didn't take very long to decide that, hey, this is a two-sided affair. You got the city's ordinances, and you got the people requesting the variances. So you kind of look at each other, you look at the area, you look at the people, you look at the house and property. And I think that's important, we can't ever forget that. And I think we've done that very well. And support up here in the city, we've got some super outstanding people. Sonia thinks I get over here and spend days. It's easy. I got everyone I can talk to, and they're all great people. So, you know, one thing I noticed tonight, Bob Speakley, good friend of mine, we're in the Exchange Club together. And he's retired military, and I am too. And he's always saluted me, calls me commander, and he salutes me with his left hand. I said, Bob, so funny, you know what I came in tonight, and you know what he did? Great. I think trained him. But you all been great, I appreciate that. I'll miss you, being a part of and as I said, I want to thank all the people for the city too. They're a bunch of good people. I don't know a lot of you, and I'm sorry, because I've just been, I'm retiring not because I want to, or I'm displeased with anybody, but I'm too old, and I've got too many illnesses. I can't hear, I can't stand, so I guess you gotta, like General MacArthur said, old soldiers never die, they just fade away. So I guess I'm gonna fade away, but no, that's not true. I'm gonna continue to come up here and talk with you all, and I sincerely mean that. And that's about it, and thank you again so much. I appreciate this, and I shall put that right next to my picture. President Sonia and I acting as departing officials at Nashville when I terminated the task I had for the Air Force, and they selected me and my wife to be departing officials for the president from there. So they're going to hang right next to that. How's that sound? Probably not good for you Democrats. Yeah, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Part of the zoning appeals board, where's the rest of the members? I think we have another member here, too. Come on up, Bob. Come on. We'll get everybody that's involved up here. That's right. Karen? Are you all right, Bob?
Push this thing forward a little bit.
What we have is a certificate, and someday these 10 signatures might mean something, but I doubt it. But it's from your friends, and thank you so much for your service to your city. You served your nation for many years, and now you've served your city for many years. You're a great guy. We appreciated your prayers every meeting. It was wonderful. We're going to miss you.
Thank you. I think this will be a second accomplishment to the Red Sox winning the World Series. Thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor, members of council, our second special presentation this evening takes the form of a community briefing. The details of this briefing are well known to the council. We have been going for several months through this process, which is a federal government process where they are going through and updating our flood maps. And in an effort to continually keep the community informed of this process, Ken Somerset is asked, and I think it was a great suggestion, to come and provide a summary brief as to where we are in this process. Keep in mind, it is a federal government process, but to the extent there is someone here at the local level that understands it and can help citizens navigate it and answer questions, Ken is certainly our resident expert. But having said that, he and I would both caution that we are trying to assist people in a federal government process, some of which is a mystery to us and not all of which we understand, but our efforts and information in helping folks are all with the best of intentions. And so tonight we'd just like to update you and the community on where we are. So with that, without objection, I'll ask Ken to come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Vice Mayor and Council, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to make a presentation to you tonight. As the manager has described, I want to try to give you an update on where we're at in the adoption process of the FEMA National Flood Insurance Program maps that we currently have under review. Currently, we're at the halfway point of the 90-day citizens comment and appeal period. We've already went through the city's appeal period with no major changes as far as roads, names, jurisdictional boundaries, or anything like that. We're now in the 90-day citizens period. This period is designed to allow citizens an avenue to question or challenge a proposed designation of a specific piece of property without having to go through the formal appeal process that FEMA has already established. The deadline for the appeal period to be submitted to Philadelphia Region 3 is December 20th, 2013 at close of business. The city has to sponsor the appeal, and in the process, we were able to do this by way of electronic transfer if we would like. What we have been doing to make sure we have everything covered, we've been doing it electronically with the return receipt request information, and we've been forwarding it by U.S. mail too, so that we have all the bases covered. Once we get that information to them, we have been contacting the citizens, letting them know that we have always also sent the information to Philadelphia, so they have it for their own personal file to keep everybody up to speed. To date, we have sent 10 appeals. We had one go last week that we feel very comfortable with, saying that they should be changed to a better designation of what they already was being predetermined. We've also spoken with several citizens who are in the process of obtaining elevation certificates that are needed for the appeals. As soon as we have that information, we will be forwarding their information accordingly. For a citizen to make an appeal, again, the city has to sponsor the appeal. We need to have either scientific evidence, which is the equivalent of having a private engineering firm go out and do private modeling for a specific parcel of property, which would be very, very expensive, or an elevation certificate done by a licensed surveyor showing that the lowest adjacent grade around the structure is at or above base flood. And if the lowest adjacent grade is located at or above base flood, then we feel very comfortable with moving forward with an appeal for a citizen. I used the phrase that it has the immediate adjacent grade because FEMA looks at the ground a foot away from the house. They're not worried about the lowest grade on the entire property. It's just immediately around the house. That makes a big difference for a lot of people. There cannot be, and I have to emphasize the word cannot be, an extension to the time period that FEMA has given us. That's the request that the manager had made in 2011, and we were very politely told, firmly told, no appeal. So That's why we have to hold fast to the December 20th date. If an appeal is made after that date is over, then the citizen would have to go through the formal letter of map amendment appeal process FEMA has established. There is associated cost with that, along with having the elevation certificate and an additional cost that FEMA has for doing that process. After the appeal period is over, FEMA will review all the requests we have provided them, and they will give us a decision on all of them individually at that time. When I have that information, we will then be notifying each individual homeowner as to their specific situation, whether it was granted or not, and then if it should not be granted, whatever reasons we would have to be able to provide to them. At that time, I will also be providing all the combined report showing all the information to the manager for his file. Once the appeal period is closed, we will be provided with a 6-month time frame from FEMA for the effective date for the new maps to be approved. We must have our new revised flood maps approved by council on or before the date that they have given us. The ordinance can be adopted at any time in that 6-month time frame. We can have it adopted with an effective date being the date that FEMA tells us that the new maps would become adoptive. To date, we have completed the revision of our ordinance in accordance with the guidelines that we were given by the state of Virginia and by FEMA. Mr. Banks at the Department of Conservation and Recreation has reviewed the ordinance, sent back comments, and I'm happy to say that he only found very minor changes, and those were just in some of the numbering I had in place was off a little bit, so just some fine-tuning and tweaking has to be done. We're double checking, I want to say triple checking, quadruple checking our ordinance right now to make sure we have what we feel meets Virginia's requirements, FEMA's requirements, while at the same time serves the citizens of Poquoson the best way we feel comfortable with. Once we have that completed, which should be shortly, we will be submitting it to the manager and asking it to be submitted to you in a work session format to give you, council, time to review the ordinance, talk about it, feel comfortable with it, study it, ask questions, so that when we do make the formal adoption of it, it won't be all of a sudden, here's something new you have to look at. You'll have plenty of time to go over it. As soon as we have the effective date for the maps, we can insert that into the ordinance. You can approve it. We will then forward it to the Department of Conservation and Recreation in Richmond for formal acceptance by the state. After they've reviewed it, they attach their state checklist, and they create a letter of recommendation to FEMA Region 3 recommending that our ordinance be adopted. They send it to Philadelphia. Philadelphia reviews it. They attach their checklist, and then they make a formal letter of recommendation, and they send all of that on behalf of the state of Virginia and the city of Poquoson to FEMA headquarters in Washington, asking Washington to formally adopt our ordinance. It's a bureaucratic, slow process, but it's one we've grown to know how to work within. We have advertised on the city webpage, on the Twitter account, on the city Facebook, the cable channel, our main reader board on Victory Boulevard, along with word of mouth and just talking to people in general as to the appeal period, what it encompasses, what the timeframes are, the requirements, et cetera. So far, we have had an unbelievably positive response to that, and just the fact that with the 10 appeals being very positive, but having people coming and asking their questions and learning more about the entire process. Right now, we have had a projected time frame for adoption being from no earlier than June of 2014 through possibly September of 2014, with the emphasis being on projected date. We don't know what the federal government doesn't know what the federal government's going to do, so we just wait for them to tell us what we can do. But in the process, we know that it will be coming, but we want to be as prepared as possible and not have to run around at the last second. In the process, I'd like to say a special word of thanks to the city manager for his support and guidance, the thought process of using many avenues of getting information out. I'd like to thank all of the city staff, especially our community development director, for all the support that she's provided, all of the city staff people for getting the information out to people. It's been a major effort. It hadn't been just one department has done it. We've had multiple departments that played a big part in getting the information out to people. If any citizens should have any questions or comments, need assistance, not understand what's going on, do they qualify, could they qualify, should they do something, we just ask them to please contact the Community Development Department at 868-3035 or 868-3040 for information or assistance. If I'm not available or staff can't answer the question right then, please leave a message and we will definitely be back with someone as soon as possible. On a final positive note that makes me feel very proud of the city, in general, especially in both the citizens and staff, we've got a lot of calls from citizens, realtors, business owners, mortgage companies, insurance agents who sell flood insurance are calling us and saying, we've been advised by your citizens in Poquoson that you're the people to call. We can't get the information from our own locality, but we've been told you can help us. And that's a very positive thing in that fact. And then we are planning on holding a citizens meeting. We don't have a formal date yet, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks we will have that. It will be in the evening in the large library meeting room to try to offer anybody who can't contact us during the daytime by phone or in person to the opportunity to go over this process and see if we can help them make sure that they feel as comfortable as possible with the appeal process. With that, I respectfully close and will say if you have any questions, I'll be happy to help you.
We have heard all kind of good comments about how you're working with our citizens to go through this and make it work for them. And as you just said, your reputation is spreading outside the city limits. So that's
I appreciate it. I have a hard time saying it's my reputation. I really firmly believe that it's leadership by the manager for what the insight and support he's given all of staff. Ms. Vest's leadership and her guidance and her willingness to help us, to let us spend the time with the people we need to spend time with, to allow us to miss meetings that we need to be a part of or back up a deadline for something else so that we can spend the extra time to make sure the citizen understands what they need. But that also said that's what makes Poquoson such a great place to live and work. For me, to work here is an honor and a privilege. For people to live here is an honor and a privilege because it makes a community and not just a city or a county. And that's what we want to see in the world.
we appreciate that. Any questions, anybody?
Just one, and it's more a form of comment and a question combined. Ken, in the past, we've had some discussion that we've met the special requirements to get a flood insurance discount in the city.
Yes, sir.
And it's my understanding that we are currently covered by that discount, and I'm looking forward to that being carried in the future. Is it not correct that anyone in the city that has a flood insurance program now should be showing like a 5 or 10% discount?
10%.
A 10% discount. And if that's not showing on the policy, they need to check that out with their insurance agent.
Yes. What we've been trying to do with people is to sit down. I'll sit down with them. Staff will sit down as long as, if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, whatever it takes for someone to understand how to read the insurance policy they have, to know the information they need to be looking for, and the proper questions to ask to verify that they are getting the correct discounts, all the discounts, whether it be CRS, is it freeboard, is it flood vents, is it mechanical equipment, anything we can find that gives you a positive discount, we want to give it to you. We want to make sure they understand how to ask for that and what to ask for. We are currently a Class 8 rating, which is equal to 10%. We are actively pursuing, diligently, strongly pursuing, working towards a Class 7, which would be a 15% reduction. And we're hoping that next October, we will be able to reach that goal after we have the formal adoption of these maps.
Thank you, Ken.
And a personal thank you from me. He's helped me out with my flood insurance too, so it's been very informative and less painful than it might have been without your help.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks a whole lot, Ken. We really appreciate your work. Okay, we're down to the audience for visitors. If anyone in the audience would like to address council on any issue, we would be happy to hear from you at this time. Seeing none, we'll move to approval of the minutes.
Mr. Vice Mayor, before we get to that, I'd like to move that we add a item to our agenda tonight, and that is a resolution directing that public notice be given that we intend to reconsider the request for a conditional use permit for establishment and operation of a landscaping business at 93 Firth Lane.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and second to amend our agenda to, state it again, reconsider.
Consider the conditional use permit. The resolution will allow us to have another public hearing. It'll give us the time to advertise it, and then we'll hear it at our December meeting.
Okay.
And my reason for this is that I personally made a lot of assumptions given our presentation that weren't true about his business, and we didn't have a direct response from him. I mean, it wasn't his fault, but we never gave him a chance to tell us what that business was, and I had a lot of misconceptions, and I really think that we should reconsider it.
Okay, so we have a motion and second. Ms. Wiggins?
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Ayer,
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford,
Aye.
and Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, so would that be
Add it to the end.
to the end?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
passing along the resolution that
Okay, all right.
we will be considering.
Okay, so we did that. Now we need to go back to approval of the minutes of our last meeting. Regular meeting, 28 October.
Skipped the audience for visitors, I think.
We had that.
We had that.
Nobody
Nobody
spoke up.
Wow.
It was fast.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I move that we adopt the minutes to the regular meeting of October 28, 2013.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for regular meeting, October 28th. Ms. Wiggins?
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Ayer.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford,
Abstain.
and Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 4-0 with one abstention.
And for the work session, 28 October 13th.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I move that we adopt the minutes of the work session of October 28, 2013.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Ms. Wiggins?
Councilman Ayer.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford,
Abstain.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 4-0 with one abstention.
Okay, we're down to item F, public hearing, and this is receipt of bids for the lease and or purchase of publicly owned property in the Big Woods. Ms. Wiggins, do you have,
I have
Bids.
one bid, which I will open. If I can open it, it's strong tape. Mine. This bid is addressed to Mayor Hunt. It's a letter of intent to purchase tax map parcel number 2701000001. Dear Mayor Hunt, in response to the city's notice of its intent to receive public bids for the above referenced property, the Big Woods Development Company, LLC, is pleased to present this letter of intent to purchase this property subject to the following terms and conditions. Purchaser is the Big Woods Development Company, LLC, and/or its assigns. The purchase price of the property shall be $401,000, payable in cash or certified funds at closing. Contingencies all to be at purchaser's expense. 1, receipt of a favorable jurisdictional wetlands determination from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for the property. 2, confirmation that there are no state or federal protected species or historic or cultural resources on the property. 3, receipt of a favorable Phase 1 environmental site assessment satisfactory to purchaser and updated to within 180 days of closing. 4, receipt of a favorable geotechnical report on the property. 5, purchaser's ability to obtain owner's title insurance at customary rates and subject only to those conditions acceptable to purchaser. 6, approval by the City of Poquoson of a rezoning of the property to planned unit development mixed use in conjunction with other adjacent properties with which we are presently working into a single master plan of development at terms and conditions acceptable to purchaser. 7, final development plan approval by the City of Poquoson of the planned development mixed-use project referenced in item 6 above at terms and conditions acceptable to purchaser. 8, receipt of all necessary state and federal permits necessary to develop the property in accordance with the approved master plan of development, including but not limited to state and federal wetlands and stormwater management permits. Deposits and closings. Deposit, $25,000 applicable to the purchase price at closing and due upon signing of a purchase and sales contract containing the terms and conditions specified in this letter of intent. In the event that purchaser is unable to obtain rezoning approval, final development plan approval, and receipt of all necessary state and federal permits and approvals, purchaser shall retain the right to cancel the contract and receive a full refund of the deposit. Provided, however, that in the event the rezoning application is approved by the City of Poquoson, the deposit shall become non-refundable but applicable to the purchase price at closing. In the event purchaser cancels a contract for any reason following rezoning approval, the deposit shall be released to the City of Poquoson. The purchaser shall provide copies of all studies and reports performed on the property at no cost or warranty to the city, and neither party shall have any further obligation to the other. Costs of rezoning and development plan approval. All costs of the rezoning and the development plan approval shall be borne solely by the purchaser. Closing. Closing shall take place within 60 days after final development plan approval by the City of Poquoson and receipt of all necessary permits and approvals from all other state and federal agencies having jurisdiction over the property. We have been working diligently for several months with the surrounding property owners, and we have agreements with the owners of a number of contiguous properties, as well as the necessary experience to create a mixed-use development that will be a credit to the City of Poquoson and the vision demonstrated by the City Council in their creation of the Planned Unit Development Mixed-Use Overlay District. Sincerely, Kells M. Spencer, Senior Manager of the Big Woods Development Company, LLC.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The procedure following the reading of all the received bids is to immediately move to a public hearing to afford any person, including the bidder, but certainly any person that would like to speak on the transaction, the bid, the property, the opportunity to do so. And then following that, you can make whatever decision that you think is appropriate. In the similar circumstances since I've been here, the council has chosen to table any formal deliberation or decision until the following meeting, just to allow time for anyone in the community that may not be here tonight, an opportunity to afford their comments to you, not as part of the public hearing, but as part of the public process.
Can we postpone the public hearing itself for the next meeting to give the public time to think about this proposal?
Well, you have people here who came tonight in response to a public request for a public hearing, and I think they should be allowed to speak. And then if you want to allow additional time at a subsequent meeting, then you can postpone the closing of the public hearing till the next meeting, which would also mean that you would postpone any discussion or decision on your part until the postponed public hearing was held.
Okay.
But they should have their
All right.
chance to say
Fine.
that.
Okay, well, let's open a public hearing if anyone would like to address council on this issue.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of council, Mr. Wheeler. My name is Lamont Myers. I'm the Director of Development for Mid-Atlantic. We have created, for the record, I reside at 107 Two Turkey Run in Yorktown. We've created the Big Woods Development Company, LLC, for the sole purpose of developing a master plan project in the city, along with the city property, with the adjacent property owners as well, should you choose to accept our proposal. And we've been working, as the letter says, for a number of months with a number of the owners there, some of whom are here this evening to show their support. Our plan is to develop a unified master plan project that would involve residential and commercial component that would be in concert with all of these adjacent property owners. We have decades of experience in this business. We've been involved in about 40 similar projects, primarily residential, some commercial as well. We're certainly aware of the challenges that are involved in taking on a project of this size, not the least of which there's a large presence from preliminary indications, a large presence of wetlands on the property, some of which would have to be mitigated at no small cost. There are utility constraints, extension of utilities, or transportation network to be considered. These are things that we deal with all the time, we're very comfortable with, and we have the experience and the capability to do that. Along that line, we've assembled a team of very experienced, very talented professionals, design professionals, consultants, traffic, land planning, civil engineering, and we're very eager to go to work on this. So we would hope that you would accept our proposal, and we would welcome the opportunity to bring a project to the city that we think will be a credit and will pay dividends to the city for many, many years to come. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Ms. Green, did you have a motion?
Mr. Vice Mayor, I'd like to move that we continue the public hearing till the next meeting, and also to delay any action we would take till that time.
Second. Okay, so we have a motion and second to not close, but delay the public hearing, or continue the public hearing to the next meeting, and any action we would take to the next meeting as well. Ms. Wiggins?
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Ayer.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. And now we move to unfinished business, and this is an ordinance amending the city code pertaining to the use of weapons, and this is a second reading. Manager, do you want?
I would be pleased to summarize where we are. For those that are joining us at home and in the audience, we have, for the last several months, been looking at the city's ordinances pertaining to use of weapons. And the principal reason for that was to make sure that we were properly up to date, given the fact that this series of state laws is subject to frequent change. And we began the process by attempting to update the specific language And at some point, it occurred to us that perhaps a better, more fluid way to maintain in compliance with changing state law is to take out much of the specific language and simply reference the code sections. And there was a general discussion with council that the council felt comfortable with that. However, there were 4 elements that were specific local choices that were permissible under the code that were reflected in your ordinance as previously adopted and currently exist to this day. Council decided that while generally being okay with a version reflected in what we call version 1, those 4 issues needed more discussion. So recently, we had a work session discussion where we talked about those elements contained in section 54-202. And we spoke specifically about a code section that Mrs. Crawford had brought to our attention. And at that time, the council determined that the resolution that it would like to see for final consideration specifically reflected that code section. And you'll see the draft is written, does that.
Actually, I didn't see that. Can you point to where that is, please?
Yes, ma'am. On the second page of the draft ordinance, section 54-202, the amendment was in section A, where it says towards the end of the section, except as provided for in section 15.2-915.4B of the Code of Virginia. That was the attempt to reconcile the piece that you had brought to our attention and to reference it so that it could live too, that modifications to that section would be fluid as well as when and if the state made changes. Those changes specifically dealt with pneumatic guns on private property and other things where the code section provides additional clarity that firing pneumatic weapons, and by this we're talking principally about BB guns, airsoft guns, things in that family, on private property is okay with the permission of the owner, provided that reasonable care is given to ensure that the projectiles don't leave the property. I'm paraphrasing that code section, but I believe I have it essentially correct. And so following your discussion, we present it here for your consideration on second reading.
We took this just for information purposes, several pages of, in my opinion, semi-unreadable legal jargon, and we took it down to about 2.5 pages of relatively clear text. So I think that this should sort of be an example, and our attorney, I believe, just did a super job rewriting this reg. Okay, is there other discussion? Or is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 54, Article 6, Division 3, Weapons of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Poquoson, Virginia.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Wiggins?
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Ayer?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford?
No.
And Vice Mayor Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 4-1.
Okay, well, that gets us down to comments of the city manager.
About
Resolution.
The new.
Added item. We added the resolution.
Okay. Sorry.
And Mr. Vice Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution directing that public notice be given of council's intention to reconsider the request for a conditional use permit for the establishment and operation of a landscaping business at 93 Firth Lane, Poquoson, tax map parcel number 19-01-00-0012.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Ms. Wiggins? Or, I'm sorry, is there any discussion? No discussion. Ms. Wiggins?
Councilman Ayer?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, now we're down to comments by the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Just want to thank Ken again for his presentation tonight. If you were following at home and we began to move too fast, all of those talking points are on our website, along with this evening's agenda materials. So if you would like to see it again, because I know he went over a lot of stuff, it is all there for everyone. Also, one other note, and we'll be publicizing this, but on this Friday, likely in the morning, there will be a period of time where the majority of the phones at City Hall will be out as we're transitioning from one telephone system to the other. If you call City Hall anywhere in this building on Friday and have difficulty getting through, one number that will be there for you the entire time is the number to the city manager's office, the main number, which is 868-3000. So please, if you have any trouble getting through, and we're just talking about City Hall, on Friday, please call 868-3000, and we will do our best for you to either reroute the call, get a note to the people. It shouldn't be more than a couple of hours. They say it's morning, but we're at the mercy of other people's schedules. So if you do experience that, please give us a call on the main line, and we'll do our absolute best to help you. And I apologize in advance for any inconvenience. And that's all I have, sir.
Councilman Southall?
Yes, I'd like to again congratulate Mr. Richard Beelan and thank him for his excellent service on the Board of Zoning Appeals. And on Veterans Day, we had a really nice ceremony here at the City Hall conducted by the American Legion and supported by the Ladies Auxiliary and people from the library. I'd like to thank them for their excellent work. That was a really nice ceremony. I appreciate that. And that's all my comments. And Ken Somerset for his excellent presentation.
Councilwoman Crawford?
I can echo that, and I think the young men from Troop 28 who remained and hung in there this whole time, you deserve bonus points, so well done. Life points for you. That's all.
Councilman Green?
Just a couple things, Mr. Vice Mayor. One is to remind everybody of the food bank. It will be on the 26th of November, which is 2 days before Thanksgiving. That's on a Tuesday. It'll be from 10 to 1 at the old municipal building. And this time we'll have the York Poquoson Social Services Office hosting it and helping us distribute the food. And also congratulations to the mayor and his wife Pam on the birth of their first grandson. That's it.
Councilman Air?
Just echo what everyone else said. Everybody have a nice Thanksgiving.
Anybody? And I have nothing further.
Can I say something?
Oh, you may.
I apologize for going out of order, but when your dad has to work on your birthday, it's okay when he says happy birthday. Happy birthday, Andrew. My son turned 12 today.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Andrew.
On that
Wants to sing, Jane? No, we better not do that.
Can you say go number 21?
Well, on that happy note, that gets us to adjournment. So we are adjourned.
No, we need
So
a
moved.
Oh, we need a motion.
So moved, Mr.
So
Vice Mayor.
move, I'm sorry. Ms. Wiggins.
Second.
Second. And then Ms. Wiggins.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Bernal, excuse me. Councilman Ayer.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 5-0.
So we are adjourned.
Thanks.
Yes.
Sure.